Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a work appropriate or office appropriate makeup tutorial for you. I'm doing a smoky eye using the Tarte Tartelette palette. I love this palette and I really do like this look. I wear it quite a bit. It's my go-to, particularly in the autumn winter months for work. Very simple to create and I always get a lot of compliments when I wear this. So I hope you guys like the look, and if you happen to work in an office and are looking for some makeup inspiration, maybe this will be for you. And of course, even if you don't, you can still wear this makeup look. It's totally fine for any day, every day. I use it a lot. Let's face it, the work day is a long day, so we want something that's going to stay in place for as long as possible. I'm going to be using the Max Factor Facefinity primer. It's an all-day primer and I find this to be quite grippy, so hopefully it will keep our foundation in place and really hold it to the skin. We are going to be wearing a full face of makeup, but the key to making it look like we're going to work as opposed to going to a club is to go for products, particularly on the face, that don't look too makeup-y. So you want something that looks very skin-like in terms of foundation, but you still want to have a decent coverage and you still want to maintain that longevity. So whatever that is for you, pick your favorite. I'm going to be using the Kogan Dough Aqua Foundation today. I unfortunately have a few breakouts and there's nothing worse than being in a meeting and feel like everybody is staring at a pimple on your face, so I'm going to conceal those. I'm using the MAC Pro Conceal and Correct palette. I'm going to pop a little bit of concealer on each of the blemishes first and just let that sit. I find that this works best to get the most coverage out of the product, and then what I will go in and do is my under eye concealer, and I'll come back and blend this out once this has had a chance to really grip and conceal as much as it possibly can. For under eye concealer, I'm going to correct my dark circles with the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. I like to use my fingers to really melt this product into the skin, and you only really need a small amount. To conceal and brighten under the eyes, I'm going to use the BareMinerals Bare Skin Complete Coverage Serum Concealer in the shade Fair. I love this product. It's very pigmented but very liquidy. It spreads really far. It feels very lightweight on the skin. It doesn't cake up under the eyes. Perfect for a work makeup look. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go back and blend out that concealer on the face as well. Try to make sure that you blend around the blemish rather than actually on it. I've got this random eyelash, sorry, rather than actually on the blemish. That way that the product stays there and you're just kind of smoothing out the edges. To set that all in place, I'm going to take a light dusting of the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores Airbrush Silk Pressed Finishing Powder. One of my favorites of the moment. Really nice, lightweight, very smoothing on the skin, and it doesn't make your makeup cake up at all. I think that's the key for this entire work makeup look. Not cakey. I'm going to be using the IT Cosmetics Skinny Brow Pencil to fill in my brows today. For work, I like to stick to a more natural look. I tend to stick to the natural thickness and shape. I don't try and go overboard and change too much. We want it to look as natural as possible. I'm just going to set that in place with the Surat Expressionist Brow Pomade. Moving on to the eyeshadow portion of this look, I'm going to be using a eye primer just because my shadows tend to crease when I wear them for sort of longer than 3 to 4 hours. This is the NARS Pro Prime Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base, and I find this is one of the best eyeshadow primers for oily eyelids. The eyeshadow palette that we're going to be using today is the Tarte Tartelette palette. I love this one. Some great matte eyeshadows, really easy to use. It's very almost prescriptive in that it gives you the sort of shadows to use together if you want to work line by line. There are some more cool tones, there are some more warm tones, and we are going to be working from the top line of the palette today. I'm taking a clean 227 Luxe Soft Definer from Zoeva. I'm going to go in with the first shade across Free Spirit. I'm going to use this to set our base and give us sort of a nice blendable surface to work with. This will also help even out any discoloration that you have on your eyelid. I have some veins peeking through, so this just helps sort of neutralize those. can bring a little bit underneath the eye if you want as well. Same brush, because I'm going to try to keep this to a 2-brush look, one for application, one for blending, and that is it. I'm going to go in with a little bit of Super Mum, which is this sort of lighter shade in the palette. I'm going to pop this in the inner corner, bringing it towards the bridge of the nose to lighten this area the best that I can. And I'm also going to run a little bit of this along the brow bone as well as a highlight. If at any point you feel like your smoky eye has gone from work appropriate to beyond, you can always come back to this colour and use it to blend down the shades. I'm next going in with Force of Nature, same brush, tap off the excess, and I'm going to start running this through the crease. The key is to try and not bring it up too far, so I really am sticking to the crease and then just using the brush to let it sort of blow out slightly. It's not so much the crease actually, it's the socket of the eye. I often get that wrong when I'm speaking, but it's basically where the ball of your eye kind of meets your brow bone in there. You really want to work the colour in. So it's just sort of peeking out over the top when you open your eyelid. People's eyes are different. If your eyes are more hooded, you might have to bring up the shade a little bit higher. Work with what you've got. And you can always stop and just sort of look straight ahead and see where that colour is showing and whether you need to sort of place it a little bit higher or sort of make sure you keep it a bit lower. Work with your own eye shape. And I'm going to softly blend this across the lower lash line as well. Just connecting it up to the top. Working with Dreamer now, I'm going to start working this across the eyelid. Since we are working with darker shadows, you really want to make sure that you tap off that excess, and when you first go in, just press the shadow into the lower lash line, and then once the pigment is off the brush, then you can start blending upwards. I'm still keeping the shadow concentrated to the mobile lid. I really don't want to bring it up much further than that. So I'm keeping it low and then just blending it out softly. This is where our second clean brush can come in, where those two shadows meet. Just use this brush to blend them together without adding any extra pigment or colour. Once you've got that blended out so there's no harsh lines, take the smallest amount of that shade, that Dreamer shade, just tap your brush. And this is where you want to put this on the lower lash line. If you're worried about it going too far, just pinch your brush a little bit, that will really flatten it out. And I'm going to keep this to the sort of outer half of the lower lash line, just so the look doesn't get too dark. And connect that up to the top again. As a final step for the eyeshadow, still with that same brush, I'm going to take a small amount of Multitasker, which is the deepest shade in this top row here. Tap off the excess as always. I'm just going to pop this right on the outer part of the upper lash line. Just tapping the shadow in place, deepening that outer V and deepening that lash line. And then we're going to go in with our clean brush and blend it out. Before mascara, I am going to tightline that upper lash line just so no skin is peeking through. I'm using the Eye of Horus Goddess pencil today. This is really a great one for the waterline because I find that it does not smudge at all. Then for mascara, I am going to be using one of my favourites of the moment. This is the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir. I just caught myself. I pull the worst faces when applying mascara. I apologise. One last step before we finish off the eyes, I am going to add in a little bit of the NYX Wonder Pencil. This is in the shade Light Clair, just to the lower waterline. This just makes me look more awake, which is something I always need at work. If you need it too, this is a great tip. Giving some shape to this potato that is my face by contouring. Starting off quite light, I'm going to be using the Kevyn Aucoin, the Sculpting Powder in medium, a favourite of mine. As with everything when it comes to makeup, start off light, tap off the excess, and build it up. That's the best way, particularly since this is a work look and we don't want to go too overboard too quickly. I'm using sort of a soft fluffy brush to really blend that out as I'm applying, because I don't like to spend too much time doing anything in the morning when it comes to my makeup, just because I'd rather use that time to sleep. I'm also going to do the jawline as well, because I have eaten one too many bad bits of food. A little bit around the forehead as well. Oh, the baby hairs. Baby hairs are the bane of my existence right now. If anybody has any cures for baby hairs, I really don't know what you can do. Maybe you can laser them off. I don't know. If you know, have you changed your hairline? Have you gotten rid of your baby hairs? Let me know in the comments below. Next up is blush, and I'm going for a monochromatic color scheme, so I want to go for a brownie toned blush as well as a brownie toned lip to match the eyes. For some reason I feel like this keeps the makeup looking clean in a way and keeps it work appropriate. I don't know the exact science behind it, but just in my opinion that's what works for me. So I'm going to be using the Tarte Amazonian Clay blush in Exposed. This is a really nice everyday blush, kind of has like a brownie rosy tone to it. Even for work, I don't skip a bit of glow, so I'm going to be using the Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder in Highlight 01. This is a gorgeous, it's not shimmery at all, it just gives your skin a satin finish. Really, really lovely. Popping this on the tops of my cheekbones using the Zoeva Luxe Powder Fusion brush. Love this one for highlight, as I've said in many videos. Just taking whatever's left on the brush and running it down the center of my face. I have 3 lip shade options varying from lighter to darker depending on what you tend to go for and what your preference is with your own skin tone. The lightest shade that I have is, they're all MAC lipsticks. This one is Fresh Brew. It's a really nice light taupey brown shade. And that's how that one looks. Now that doesn't do it for you. Another option is MAC's Velvet Teddy. This one is a little bit deeper and a little bit more, has a little bit of a more rosiness to it. Then if you're like me and your preference leans toward deeper lip shades, MAC's, well, you can't go past it. I love the lip pencil and I love the lipstick. Again, it has a slight more rosiness to it, but still maintains that brown neutral look. It's just a little bit deeper. So even though this is a deeper shade, I still find that for me in my workplace, it's completely work appropriate, but it really will depend on what sort of amount of makeup you're comfortable wearing and what you're used to wearing and what works with your facial features. I have dark hair and dark eyes, so I feel like I can pull off a slightly darker look and not have it be too jarring. Whereas if you have lighter features, then maybe you want to stick to a lighter lip shade. So that completes this work appropriate smoky eye makeup tutorial. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. As always, there'll be a list of all the products used in the description box below, as well as my social media links, so please come say hi to me there. I'd love to be able to chat to you. And other than that, I hope you guys are doing really well. My name is Rachel and I'll see you all next time. Bye!